Imagine you're feeling a bit under the weather and decide to take a pill to help you feel better. But what if I told you that the pill you took was actually just a sugar pill with no real medicinal properties? This is the idea behind the placebo effect, where a person's belief in a treatment can actually cause them to experience real improvements in their condition. Now let's apply this idea to marketing. Have you ever bought a product because you believed it would have a certain effect, only to later realize that the product didn't actually do anything? This is the placebo effect in action in the world of marketing. Companies use clever advertising and branding techniques to create a belief in consumers that their product will have a certain effect, even if the product itself doesn't actually have any real benefits. In this video, we'll explore the fascinating world of the placebo effect in marketing and how companies use it to influence our behavior and purchasing decisions. Yes, the placebo effect is a great example of how powerful the mind can be. Researchers have spent a lot of time and money trying to figure out how the mysterious placebo effect works, which has important implications for both mental and physical health. And how can it be used to make marketing strategies work well? Whether you know it or not, you have probably been given a placebo at some point in your life, and it probably worked. The placebo effect is when the brain forms an expectation of a real result based on a belief, and then the body shows symptoms that aren't real but are related to that expectation. Basically, your mind tricks your body into thinking that something is there when it isn't. This is called perceived expectancies, and it happens when the body reacts to an artificial stimulus just because it thinks it will react in a certain way. When then does this event happen? You've probably had different experiences with the placebo. For instance, you might have felt energized after drinking a cup of coffee, only to find out it was decaf, or you might have gotten the flu after thinking you were about to get sick. In more surprising ways, causal relationships have been found in biological research about the body's ability to heal itself when fake placebo drugs are used to treat people with life-threatening illnesses. The first time the placebo effect was seen was in medical research in the 20th century. Even though they helped more people get better when they thought the fake medicine would work, placebos were considered to be good medical treatments. This was common until the middle of the 20th century, and even now, scientific research is used to show how well the placebo really works. In a study done at the University of Michigan, it was found that positive reactions to a placebo pill were linked to positive expectations of getting a reward. Volunteers had an MRI scan of their brains after being told they could win or lose money in a gambling game. Those with high levels of dopamine release in their brains also felt good effects from a fake drug that was just a sugar pill, the good neurotransmitter implicated in pleasure and reward circuits. It turns out that our ideas do have an effect on the world. It seems that optimism and expecting good things to happen are the main things that make the placebo work. John Zubieta, the neuroscientist and radiologist who led the experiment, said, "What surprised me the most was the strong link between this part of reward processing and the fact that you can predict the placebo response. The placebo effect is a way for the brain to stay strong," he said. "All you need is to believe that something will work. You don't need the medicine." Just by having a positive attitude, we can change our physical health for the better. What does this mean for advertising that uses the placebo effect? Expectation and persuaded belief, which are important parts of the placebo effect, are also important parts of marketing because they affect how people think about brands. When it comes to the placebo effect and advertising, the consumer's expectations must be managed. This means that the experience being marketed through a product, a brand message, etc., must match the consumer's expectations of what they will feel after making a purchase. Once a good brand image has been built, the real experience with the product can't be different from what was shown. As long as the consumer's experience with the product or service backs up the brand's image and reputation, the placebo effect will make the benefits of the product seem even better. If the stated expectations seem real and true, the placebo may make customers happier and make them think more positively about the brand's positioning. People who are more sure that a product will work may also be more likely to think that it has real value. Your brand tells a story, and then it lives up to that story, which is your placebo effect. Buckley's is a great example of a company that does a great job of meeting the needs of its customers. In the middle of the 1980s, when they came up with the famous bad taste campaign, cough and cold medicines changed a lot. Their signature line is, "That doesn't taste good." And it works was completely honest and set customer expectations that were reasonable. Its honest humor pointed out that the cough medicine tasted bad, but praised how well it worked. Those who thought that the confession of bad taste would be true if the statement of effectiveness was true felt a strong sense of anticipation. Even with the chemicals in Buckley's, no one can heal a common cold, but if a person believes that it will, it helps the medicine work even better. Or think about the beauty patch that Dove makes. Dove asked women to take part in a study that used a pharmaceutical beauty patch by saying that the patch would make the women feel better about how they looked. In this case, the placebo method of advertising was taken to an extreme. Even though these patches were placebos and didn't contain any real medicine, the participants said they thought they looked better. They were shocked to find out that the patch itself wasn't doing anything. Instead, it was their ability to convince themselves that this medical-looking patch made by one of the biggest cosmetics companies in the world must be marketing to them because they were wearing it. We want all women to feel better about themselves by showing them in the Dove. Patches found that having a good attitude and being open can make them feel more attractive. Jennifer Bremer is in charge of developing the Dove brand for skincare. Even though this may seem like a bad strategy, think about how Dove is tricking its customers. Their product story meets the audience's needs. Dove didn't really lie when they said this patch would change people's ideas of their own beauty, because it did, but not in a physical way. Instead, it changed people's ideas of their beauty in a psychological way. The price of a product is another example of how the placebo effect can be used to persuade people. When setting a price for a good or service, a brand should keep in mind that many of its customers have an idea of how much they can spend. Have you ever noticed that many stores mark things down from the normal price of $10 to $9.99 or even 50% off the retail price? These two ways of setting prices are meant to make customers feel like they are getting a good deal. Even if it's only a penny less, paying $9.99 seems like a better deal than paying $10, and every item that goes on sale seems like a good deal right away. When a product isn't really on sale, grocery stores may market with the store's sale color to make it look like it is, often yellow or red. People have been trained to think that a certain color on a product means it's on sale, so many grocery stores now mark items that aren't on sale with this color. This is done to get people to buy more because they know that a certain color usually means a sale. But since the experience doesn't live up to the consumer's expectations, this is not a good way to use the placebo effect in advertising. These few examples show how a positive placebo can be a very useful advertising tool. Because of the placebo effect, real thoughts and physical symptoms can happen, which backs up the idea that your products do help people. It all comes down to managing your audience's expectations by creating a message that appeals to them. Don't forget to check that the audience's expectations are met even after the sale, or you risk getting a negative response. Using the placebo effect, real and honest storytelling can make people feel real value and happiness. Have you seen advertisements use the placebo effect in any other ways? Tell us about it in the section below for comments.